Tell me if this sounds familiar. You sit down to make a song, you build a killer intro, build some amazing verse and chord lines, also maybe make an amazing chorus line, and then nothing. Suddenly your masterpiece seems like a ghost of a song that could have been something beautiful. Hi, I'm Saurabh Shetty. I'm an award-winning music producer who has over 300 of such ghosts remaining in my project files and still has managed to create over 100 songs which have been out across different collaborations, across placements on web series and more. Welcome back to Music in Progress, where we deal with the real struggles of making music one video at a time. And if that sounds like your life too, hit subscribe and let's grow together. Now let's move on to what we can do about that half-finished song. So before we get into the solution, it's very important to find out where the problem lies. Now the real reason you're stuck is not a lack of talent, but rather it's being overwhelmed by choices. You have to understand that you are not really blocked. You are actually confused by so many directions that this song can take on now. That's why Yanni had also said in his interview that there's this initial period of magic where you are actually composing without thinking too much about all the options, about how the crowd will perceive it, and that's when the true magic happens. Because once you lose that and you start judging your music, that's when it loses that magic and then you're stuck in this phase of confusion. This is what creative paralysis is. The more of a song you make, the more you realize how open-ended it is and the number of decisions you can actually make to make that song even more beautiful. The first step towards finishing that song is to normalize this confusion. Even pros and famous artists have faced it. They've left a song unfinished and later turned back to it after a number of years. So be okay with it because it's part of the process. A second reason why you might not be able to finish the song is that your emotional arc, a storytelling arc of the song is not yet developed in your mind. Because of this, you tend to wander aimlessly into your song making process because you don't even know what the song is really about. So what I would like to suggest to you is when you are in the initial phrasing and songwriting process, try to determine what's the story of the song. And how do you want it to end? How do you want a listener to feel once this song has ended? Are you explaining the story in terms of problem and solution? What is the emotion that you or the listener will be feeling as he or she hears this song? And that's why many a times it's important to get that chorus part nailed, because that really sets the whole song in a certain direction, and then everything else will be something which is either leading onto it or coming out of it in the bridge section or say in the outro. The third and the most common problem with most songwriters and music producers is overproduction. What do I mean by this? By overproduction, I mean sometimes when you get stuck in a song, you tend to keep on adding layers, effects and more plugins in order to somehow fit and finish the song. But that's not how songwriting really works. Unless you have defined your emotion beforehand, you will never find a clear-cut way out of the mess, and inserting more instruments, effects and plugins into this just creates more of the clutter, and that makes finishing the track even harder because now you have done something and you don't even know what is supposed to be removed to actually find the emotion and the root of the song. So here's a tip. When you're stuck like this, try to mute a majority of the layers which don't make sense. Go through your song layer by layer, and something which is not really fitting in the entire track, just mute it for now and then try to find the essence of the song again. And there's a huge chance that all the tracks that you have muted, you're not gonna be needing it once you've found the core of the song. Point number 4, switch from the creator mode to the editor mode. What I mean by this is many songwriters try to find endless inspiration in their song and constantly feel that if they are not reinventing the wheel every single time they sit on their desk, something's wrong. And that's really not the case, because once your chorus and verse have been defined, so you have to shift your mentality from constantly inventing something in a song to figuring out what is the core and then just building upon it using editing, using those other very necessary layers or tracks that you want to add to enhance this sound. Point number 5, change your environment and break the loops if you're stuck. Now, what do I mean by this? You might be just thinking in a single line, and the way your brain functions is it takes you down a certain path, and you're so deep down that path that you're not able to visualize the whole project from the outside and see what's actually missing there. So in this case, you really need to take a short resetting break where you either go out for a walk, have some food, bring yourself a cup of coffee, and then sit back, because even the small act of disengaging from the track and getting back to it will get some new ideas out there which might have been existing in your head but you still right now aren't able to see. I feel like some of my best songwriting has happened when I'm not sitting at a desk and just walking at a beach or just down in the park, having my voice recorder, of course, close to me so I can record those ideas. And something which really helped me is once the track is barely done, I tend to give it an export and keep it on my phone so I can listen to it and get ideas wherever I am once I'm out of this stuck phase. Okay, point number 6 is you don't have to go linearly. The problem is most of new songwriters tend to want to finish their song from start to the end, and when they get stuck at a certain bit, they just get stuck and can't go ahead. However, this is not how you can tackle this problem always. You can just keep on going with the song. Wherever you're stuck, keep those 4 to 8 bars just like that, just empty or with basic drums, loops or whatever you have been having in the entire track, and then go ahead from there. You might have just recorded a rough track on your voice recorder, so bring that track onto the project and figure out if any of the parts can be used in the original song. For example, sometimes I do some bits which I feel are the chorus, but when I actually put them in the project, I feel they're better for the bridge or something that's leading up to the chorus. So try to figure out what you have, place them all around the song, and then figure out what are the missing bits that you need to finish in order to make this a song. Now here's a hard truth to all of this. Not all songs are meant to be finished. Most of the producers have a graveyard folder where they keep all the projects that they never completed, and it just exists. Maybe this unfinished project is just some fodder for you to start on another project where these ideas will come into fruition. So it's okay to have these, but it's also an amazing idea to have a folder of all these unfinished projects together. So on your off days or when you're unable to come up with new ideas, you can just revisit the folder and try to see what is that one thing which you would like to do and finish now. Now there's also accountability that really helps you finish a track. What I mean by this is put out your intention, either publicly or privately to a friend or family member, saying I'm gonna finish this song in this amount of time. This really creates the pressure which gets your head pumped and working on that project and finishing it. If you're stuck making this half song, drop it in the comments or DM me and let's finish it together. I sincerely hope that all of these suggestions would help you finish your half song into a fully finished song. I would love to hear about what other points really stop you from finishing that song. And if you like videos that simplify the messy process of music making, hit subscribe and let's go on this journey together. Your half-finished song doesn't require perfection, it just requires momentum. So just keep on going, keep on making, because eventually progress always beats inspiration. And that's what we keep on doing in Music in Progress. Thank you for watching.